Living Off the Grid Radio. And tonight, the podcast is billed Shiwa71. I hope I'm saying that right. Versus Charles Tyler's Passport Shark Tank. If you want to get into the Shark Tank tonight and get in on the conversation, call 347-855-8802. That's 347-855-8802. Press 1. The Charles Tyler Passport Shark Tank. Charles, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
All right, B. Thanks a lot. Oh man, we got a pretty interesting show going on tonight. I wanted to cover on some topics that a lot of y'all brothers and others probably out here who do travel outside Matrix USA that might have heard, and particularly mainly aimed towards in the relationships that we have outside of Matrix USA. Okay, and I have talked to Cherie 7 before, C7, and we've have our little back and forth, debates, But she kind of made it onto our Facebook group and caused a major controversy. I was like, what? She did not just say that, And what I wanted to do, instead of doing a video on it, I wanted to bring her on the show, and I wanted to talk about it, and talk about how she feels about, brothers who are traveling, and also how the real deal works, at least from my point of view. And Cherie 7, are you online there?
Yes, but I think you're saying it wrong.
Okay,
I know you're saying it's Shiwa 7, like the superhero Shiwa.
Shiwa 7, sorry. I'm sorry. Shiwa 7.
No, it's okay.
And all, but
yes, I'm here. I'm here to answer questions. So whatever you need to ask, I did say that I do agree with the things that I've said in my video, and I will stick by them. I'm not going to change my mind. So you can ask me whatever you like.
Well, see, the thing is, right, when I caught in your video, you said you have some friends, and they're Brazilian in this case, and they did what they did to get up here, and they're doing what they're doing to stay up here, and that's very few cases of a lot of brothers who travel. Okay, there are a lot of brothers who travel outside the U.S. and they've gotten had relationships with a lot of foreign women, and especially in Brazil, and they're the happiest guys I know. Okay,
Well, I'm not trying to bash anybody for going out of the United States to find women. I mean, I just think that it's kind of silly to go out of the country to find another woman because the kind of woman that you like, you can't have in America. So you go get the discount version.
Well, go ahead. I got to turn my mic off.
Exactly.
Lay it on us, man.
Go ahead, I'm here. I'm just saying you have to go get the discount version of the women you can't have here. Because in Brazil, I'm pretty sure that the women aren't like us. I'm pretty sure because that's why y'all are going there, because it's easier for y'all, and y'all don't like challenge.
Now, to ask you a question, to ask you something. When you say easy, what do you mean by easy in your sense?
I mean, it's easier to exploit those women because they don't know how American men are.
I kind of knew that was going to be the next. I kind of knew that was going to be following. That's why I wanted to, exploit. I don't think exploit. Yeah, there's some. You know what? There's some crackers out here that exploit them all day.
Yeah, there's people that travel to Thailand to exploit underage kids too.
You're right. You're right. But there's black men who are, there's most black men out here who are going a completely different route. We're not, just because we travel outside of the U.S. and date women outside of the U.S. don't mean we're exploiting them. I know it can seem like that because, like I said, there's a lot of white folks out there that exploit little kids in Thailand, and even in Brazil too. Exploit those women down there too. But the women, from all my trips down there, right, and what I've learned, and also being in a relationship with a Brazilian woman, those women are looking for good men. Okay.
Yeah,
you have to look at the demographics now.
American women, they were looking for good men about 30 years ago.
The sad part about it is the idealistic way of what women looking for up here is different from what they're looking for down there.
Because, like I said, 30 years ago, we were looking for good men too.
Past tense. What you looking for now?
Well, as a result of not finding good, as a result of not being able to find good men 30 years ago, now we're not worried about if they're good or not. We're worried about if we're good or not. So what I'm trying to say is, there, a lot of these countries that are not, I would say, like America, their traditions and their values are from a time beyond past, tense. Ours have,
you're
come
right.
up into
times where a woman knew her place as a woman. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when we were looking for good men, we thought we found some, but something changed and there was no more good men. So we were just like, you know what? We're just going to be out for ourselves now, because finding a good man is like finding a needle in a haystack. So you know what? Let's just worry about ourselves.
I would say the same thing here in the U.S. Finding a good woman is like finding a needle in a haystack. See, as a man, and I've dated, I've been on the dating scene since I've been divorced, okay? And that's going on about 10 years, okay? And what I've seen is that African-American women, they outnumber a man here in the U.S. 6-1, okay? All right, but yet they're always looking for something that does not exist. They're looking for 50 Cent in the suit. They're looking for what they see on TV.
Well, do you have people looking for
even Curtis Jackson has changed his horror too as well. Even the guys that are perceived as that is the brother right there. Those guys have changed their ways too. They're not the thug mentality and all that stuff. There are a lot of the bad boy silliness is what I call it. It's like I said, it's kept African American women single. Those there are good men. There are a lot of good men here in America. They're being chased off. You're my brother.
We're looking at the same
guy, but all that stuff.
Yeah, but we're looking at the same thing, and we're wanting the same thing. American men and American women. I think I said this in one of my videos. We're both looking at the media and what's being portrayed on the media. We see these beautiful women with nice butts, beautiful, women, and the women like that in America won't give you the time of day. But you can go to Brazil and find the exact same woman or similar to her, and she'll, talk to you, be nice to you, flirt with you, and all that kind of stuff, is whether you're broke or not. There's nothing wrong with that. But the women are also looking at the media and all that stuff, and we're seeing these rich guys that have money, yachts, buying their women diamonds. And so while y'all are looking at booties and trying to go to Brazil and find it, we're looking at what these guys have too, and that's what we want. So we're actually wanting the same things that are out of our league. And y'all have found a way to go find it at a discount, and we have found a way to either find it here or hope for the best or get it ourselves. So I don't know.
The thing about it is like this. I think that's a little bit overdrawn right there.
Well, that's me. That's my personality. I'm gonna reach the furthest I can reach.
Well, contrary to popular belief, there's men out here like me. It's got more than just a fine body. I've had nothing. If you want to be true, I have nothing but fine women. That's just the way I like my women. All right, I'm attracted to women that symbolize sensuality. They don't look like Ed Jemima. Okay, they don't look like Precious. Okay, that's just me. That's my personal take. to me and treating me like crap and everything like that, screaming, hoop, hollering, nagging, yeah, you know, that's a turn off to me. I mean, that kills it. That kills her beauty now.
I bet, you know what?
Her outer beauty now became completely ugly to me. Okay? A brother might say, man, she's fine as hell. Yo, man, go ahead, and you wanna, you can have it. You know, what's wrong? What brothers are looking for these days is a combination of both. Okay, at least this brother right here. All right, it's a combination of both. Yes, I do want a fine-looking woman, but I want a fine-looking woman inside and out, and it's hard to find these days here in America.
I'm going to tell you the secret behind that. There are a lot of women who are nice and spiritual and have, like, intellect beyond me, but they're not going to show you that. And they're not going to show you that because if they don't see that you have what they want. They're not going to waste your time or their time. So they're just going to be very shallow and superficial because you don't have what they want, and they're not going to reach inside themselves and present the real them to you because they don't want to waste your time or their time because you don't even have what they want to start out with. So they're just like, you know what, I'm going to play shallow. I'm going to just be like this, and that. But when they meet a guy with the things that they have, they pull every trick out of the book, out of the hat. They get all spiritual. They start talking metaphysics. They start talking religion. Whatever the guy's interested in, they have research. They have all this knowledge, and they're not going to pull it out their hat unless they are investing in this relationship. I know I've done it a million times. I'm like, you know what? I play stupid. I play shallow.
Let me tell you something, right? That from a man's point of view, and that women need to know, especially here in the U.S. When a man reaches a certain age, okay, a woman, you know, that childish stuff of being attracted, this and that, and I'm in love and all that stuff now. And this is what my father had to teach me. And then when he first told it to me, I thought he was crazy. Okay, but now I see what he's talking about. A woman becomes an investment after a certain age. Okay, and like any investment, one could be good and one could be bad. Okay. And when that situation comes down to that, a man's going to try to find the best investment he has. He can get. All right? Not a woman that's going to be out there trying to run him in the ground. There's one other thing my grandfather added to me. He said, when you go, you want to be with a woman, you want to make her your wife, you make sure you get with a woman who can help you build an empire. And y'all build that empire together. That's the reason why God rest both of their souls. He was with my grandmother. Okay? And you said a minute ago that those women down in Brazil represent a time that's past. Okay? They represent women that are going on, or on their way going on. Like my mother, like my grandmother. Okay? Those were fine-looking women, inside and out. And they helped their husbands build an empire. They were not out there trying to destroy them with child support. They were not out there trying to, get what they could get out of them and divorce them. It was to death do them part in most cases.
Well, yeah, because it has to be that way. Back in the old days, it has to be that way, especially for black people.
It doesn't have to be that way. My grandmother, she wanted to. She could have divorced my age. There was times where my grandmother got mad at my grandfather. Okay, and my grandfather was a hustler too. Okay, when it came down to the women, he was very much of a lazy man.
But people were embedded in tradition and religion back then.
She stayed true to her marriage, even though he might have screwed up. But in the end, because she died before he did, 4 years before he did, and those were 4 years of depression for him that drove him right back. He didn't even. This guy was a ladies' man. He could have had any woman he wanted. Tall, 6'2", dark skinned, slim. Brother, he could have had any woman he wanted. And women were actually calling him and he was pushing them away. Okay? Because he had something good. Now it's gone. The only thing that he can see, I like to see come up to his house and see him just sitting there and surrounded by pictures of my grandmother. Because that right there was a good woman. And that right there was something that is hard to find and hard to duplicate now in today's society, today's rap culture and everything like that.
Well, yeah, it is hard when you're looking for women that look like the women on the video. It's hard. There is plenty of good women out there who don't look like Beyonce or have a video booty and that want a good man, but y'all overlook them and leave the country and go. Like I said, you know, y'all don't want a good woman. Y'all want a fantasy woman that does not exist in America the way you want her to, without wanting anything in return.
It did exist.
It did exist back in the day when y'all were gentlemen and when y'all deserved it. Y'all don't deserve it anymore. Y'all got to go outside the country to go get it where they don't know your history. They don't know how y'all treat women.
Oh, wait a minute. Time out. Stop right there. You know, look, I didn't say something. There were times, right, where I was the utmost gentleman. And I know a lot of brothers can definitely agree with me here, where we are utmost gentlemen to you. You know what we get called? Thirsty, meat, okay? All right? But then it's the guy, right, you know, who calls you a be this and be that, and everything like that. Trick ass, hold this, hold that. And he gets all the play. You know why? Oh, man, he keeps me guessing. He's a bad boy.
Well, the sad thing about that, I'm just gonna.
But that's typical now. That's not. It used to be something that's here and there.
Those men come off as very masculine, and those men come off as very masculine and strong, and those women are attracted to masculine.
Can I break in real quick?
They might women crave masculine energy, and when you're broke. And trying to take someone out and open your door.
I gotta break in on this. Right. I would do 5 quick bullet points to address some of these things she brought up. Because we do have callers on the line. I typically don't break in. I just feel quiet and produce the show.
Oh, it's okay.
I do my shit all, and we've had you're on the platform here, but let me speak. 5 quick bullet points. Number 1, the primary reason why I go out of the country, okay, is the respect level. There is absolutely no shortage of good-looking women here in the United States. So if I wanted that only, if I was that shallow, I would stay right here in the United States. There's 300 million people here in the United States. The number 1 reason why I go out is because the respect level that I get outside of the United States from both women and men dwarfs any kind of respect I get in this country. Number 2, I'm an entrepreneur. And there's business opportunities that I get outside the country that I can bring back in the country that I have a captive market on. Number 3, one example of this is South Africa. South Africa produces 4 black millionaires in any country on the face of this earth, and Brazil is following that right now. Number 4, I like to learn languages. And then the last thing I'm going to address, your comment on discount women. If I'm spending $2,000 on just a plane ticket for a 3-month stay in Europe or wherever I go, because I might take 2 3-month vacations a year. That's not discount.
That is not cheap.
Anybody that wants to get in on the conference, that's not cheap. If I want discount, I'll go around the corner for that. Anyway, anybody that wants to get in on the conversation, call 347-855-8802. Charles, we got callers here for you. The first one we're going to take from area code 917. You're on air.
Hello, peace, brothers. This is going on, brother. And I appreciate. My name is D. This is Derek. I appreciate the sister for being honest, and sharing her part of what it is. Okay? I got a few points to make. First of all, I want to just point out the hypocrisy of not her in particular, but the stance that she represents. And I like to use the example of there was a big selling book in the 90s, and it turned into a movie named Waiting to not Waiting to there was a movie. What was it? Stella Gotta Move Back. Now in this movie, man, they had to film. It was a fictional, this beautiful milk machine down there in the Caribbean. But that real life story is women going to the Caribbean, getting dug out by a brother that they could not get in America because if they didn't get in America, they wouldn't be going to the Caribbean for that. Now it's going to Africa, all over the place. All over, you got 4 black men. You got brothers hanging out there at their knees, and they going down there and getting that. That's the hypocrisy 1. 2, that Brazilian woman don't have the white man on her corner to sit on the black man when you're down there. So they got to work with their men. You know what I'm saying? So you got the Black American woman that can be like, okay, I just want to be a bitch. I can go to family court. I can do this. I can do that. So all the men, not saying all sisters is like that, but there's a lot of them that are like that. There's just hurting black men, and they never had the ability to hold the system. They were never able to use the system against black men up until the 1960s. That was a way of driving a wedge in the black family. Women are not being old school by being, women are not being old-fashioned by being decent. I see decent women every day. They're just not in the African-American variety as much. You see Asian women, Middle Eastern women, the Spanish women are piss poor in America, but they be the most loving motherfuckers, man. When you're dealing with them in a relationship that you see with your Spanish co-workers, with their women, they can be poor as hell. But they got respect for each other. So there's a respect loss, and like I said, I think it comes back to the fact that women know that she has that system that she can call on to be that she can get back at you through the system. And what you call the woman doesn't have that. The woman in Brazil doesn't have that. You know what I'm saying? The West Indian woman, she's not a good wife either, unfortunately, because she speaks English and she understands that ignorance. And this is the hypocrisy that I hear. It's just straight up hypocrisy. Not all. I mean, I'm not going to say all right there as far as West Indian women. I'm going to say all of them, but yeah, by and large, though. By and large, you already know. By and large, I don't mean all of them, but by and large. By and large, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got an animal to use against us. We don't act the way the man is this and man is that. I mean, every time you see a cop killing somebody, who is it? Some brother that was raised by just his mother. Where was his mother? May have been sleeping around, may have chased her man away. You know, but this is where you never see nobody getting killed by a police officer and they handing out pamphlets to Jehovah's Witnesses, or they a Muslim trying to sell you a bean pie. You don't see organized people doing the right thing, they get killed. It's usually somebody that was raised in a raggedy situation. And I hate to say it, but the United States facilitates women to live in these raggedy situations where they can be about nothing and still survive. So a black woman has an advantage over these other women. And they're not taking that into consideration. Not only that, a lot of these countries are not brainwashed by the number one brainwasher in just about everybody's household, TV. All right? They're not brainwashed by these stupid, basically counterproductive programs like NBA Wives, Atlanta Housewives, Love and Hip Hop. Every show.
That's true. Like, you know, when this show first started on the radio, the radio show first started, he called America the Matrix. And I wanted to hit on that because when you say the Matrix and you leave America and it's not the Matrix anymore, actually part of being a master of yourself and a complete person spiritually is becoming a master of the Matrix. If you can't master the Matrix, then you have to it's like you gave
every point of the Matrix, didn't you? Did you see the movie?
I saw the movie. They can go in and out of the Matrix at will. In the Matrix.
Do you know why they were going in and out of the Matrix?
You have to go outside the Matrix.
Do you know why they were going in and out of the Matrix? The same way is the reason why I go in and out of Brazil. All right? I could have stayed out. Okay? I could have stayed down in Brazil too. You know, I want to come back here. I forget about my brother. I got to get down here myself. Thanks. You know, but I took a lot of slack when I came back here and I started doing videos and also this radio show and also the Facebook group and telling brothers about Brazil, telling brothers about traveling abroad in general, but mainly about Brazil. A lot of people came down on me hard. What are you doing telling them? I don't want them niggas coming down here. You know, they're going to ruin everything we got, you know. But I also didn't like the fact that I've seen a lot of single Afro-Brazilian women. And I see a lot of white guys grabbing them up. Okay? And exploiting them, like you said earlier. Okay? I've seen guys who, here in the U.S., who are good, productive gentlemen.
So you're Neo trying to go say Trinity.
You were saying earlier, right? You were saying earlier that the bad boy image produces a sign of strength and masculinity. Baby, I'm 6'5", you're 300 pounds. How much masculinity do you need? Okay, when I come down the street, people walk on the other side. Okay, but I'm a nice guy. I'm a gentleman. I'm not going to sit around here smacking everybody on the corner and everything like that, from the hip. Okay, I have to do that. Okay?
Well, that's true, and a lot of
because
masculinity. A lot of nice guys can show their masculinity in another form. Like, I got this, I can take care of you. I do this, I can do that for you. You don't have to go nowhere. I got you. That's the masculinity that women are looking for. And they can't find it in nice guys, because nice guys are just like, they're nice, and then it's
poor choices that they think you're not gonna get what you want from a boy from Leroy running down the street with his pants hanging down. All right.
Of course you're not, but you are gonna feel like you're
not gonna get what you're gonna get is a whole lot of problems. Okay? What you're gonna get is the guy who's gonna be coming in and out of jail all the time.
Of course. And I don't condone dating thugs. I'm just saying that is why women are attracted to them, because they're more masculine than some of you guys.
How are you more masculine and you're in and out of jail? But let me ask you something. Don't you think that's pretty silly? Don't you think
I'm talking about the energy. I'm not talking about the person themselves. They could be stupid and immature, but that masculinity, that male energy is what women seek. They want to feel like females again, and we can't get that from half y'all. Y'all just want a roommate and somebody to pay half the rent and build an empire with. You already have an empire to offer somebody. I'm just keeping it real.
No, you feel it, I appreciate it.
I can build an empire with somebody else and split it down the middle and rule half. And why do I want to do that? I want to be a woman. I want to be a wife. I want to feel feminine. I don't want to have to tell you what to do and how to spend your money. Okay? I want everything taken care of, so when I come in, I can be a female to the fullest extent. I don't have to look for masculine energy everywhere else, because I'm with someone that's doing the exact same thing I am. I want to have to go outside and look for masculine energy, because I'm doing the exact same thing my husband is doing. Going to work, making money, paying bills, coming home, doing this. I need masculine energy without being masculine myself. So if I can't find something like that, hypothetically, then of course when some guy comes around excess masculine energy, it's gonna get my attention.
Charles, can I ask you a question? Are you going to answer any of the points I made? Because I made a few points, and I was very excited when I seen her going to be on the show, and you're not answering any questions. It seemed like you're kind of filibustering because you have your position. But I know I did.
Ask me the question. I can't remember all that. I'm not Obama.
So what is it? Why is it like? Do you see where women are able to hide behind a certain rule? This is the main question. Women are able to hide behind laws that they never had in American history up into the late 60s, when they decided, look, the black family's working together against us in the civil rights movement, black power movement, and they find a way to divert that energy, empowering the women, and then now we got 2-3 generations where women don't even know black love. Speaks to just the fact that women, they have ability to screw men over, and they use it as a, when at their disposal. So you have, what I'm saying? So you speak to that, because it seemed like,
okay, I'll speak to that.
justifying every raggedy situation. You want to answer something?
I'll answer that question, because every race of woman in America can go file child support. Why don't they?
Exactly.
Why
don't they? You know why? In my opinion, because they come just like the Brazilian woman. There's a certain code that they go by, and they know if they hurt their man, in turn they hurting themselves, and in turn they hurting their people in their kingdom. That's the difference. In other words, black women don't care about that. It's not looking at it from not a financial standpoint. We have a family here. It takes two to put this together. And if you're going to destroy the father financially, in this country, you can destroy somebody financially. It's real simple. Okay? Yeah. Child support is leading the way. Okay? Alimony is leading the way. All right? And that's starting to become a typical weapon. The African African-American woman is picked up and used against her brother man. Okay? What does that do for a good black man who is in a good financial situation? You know, like I said, going right back to investments now. A good brother is in a good financial situation. He's not going to put himself in that situation with an African-American woman here and run a risk of getting put on child support and his investments getting ruined.
Well,
okay? So we're going to go somewhere else.
If you're not married and your relationship results in a child and you leave and that woman puts child support on you so she can hold you responsible for that child, I don't see anything wrong with that. If you're not going to marry somebody, you're not going to marry somebody.
Anything wrong with it until it starts being used as a weapon. Now,
it's just like fear. It's just like fear.
You and I were together. Let's just say you and I were together, right? The relationship didn't work out, and we broke up. But in the process of that all going on, we produced a child. All right? I done moved on.
I wouldn't have anybody's child unless I was married to him.
Yeah, but that's too. But let's just say, even if we were married, and we got divorced or whatever, all right? And the bottom line is the relationship ended, okay? And I moved on, got myself a new woman. You know, I'm bringing my kid around my new woman because that might be my potential next wife or something like that. You know, and I want my children to be involved in that family as well. All right? Why do women get mad and all of a sudden, okay, I'll fix it. I'm going to get you on child support. Wait, what? I'm taking care of the kid. Why we got to go there? Mm-hmm.
Well, then why don't y'all get full custody if y'all don't want to?
But that's not the only thing, child support. A woman can just say, look, I just want to be trifling, or I just want to do what I want to do. My mother was on
and I'm going to tell you about this dark feminine energy that you're talking about. I'm going to tell you, because women have dark feminine energy. We get mad. We love and we hate this.
Well, why you don't see this in the Middle Eastern community? Why you don't see this in the Latin community? Huh?
Because they get beat and head shaved off.
You ever seen those videos
where the Hispanic women cheated on their men and they got their head shaved off? You never seen battery acid thrown on those Middle Eastern women because they can't do nothing back for their men?
Not in America, because they know.
Yeah, in America.
They know they're in America under the system of America, and if they screw that man over, they're in turn screwing themselves. And that's what I'm talking like. I don't understand how women are like. If you screw me, it's gonna hurt me. They're gonna take my license. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that.
But see, you're not listening. The point is, they don't care. They don't care. They're upset just as hard as they can love. They can hate, and that's feminine energy. That's very powerful.
Okay. That's a foreign energy. And I'll keep on saying, give me this example with another group of women. And we keep on saying women, feminine. No, we talk about Black American women versus the other women that's in this. That's what I'm talking about. Versus the other women.
Those other women are oppressed and live in fear. We don't.
But these are the same people that we go into the store. They're impressed with they own the 7-Eleven. They're impressed with they own the Dunkin' Donuts. They own the bagel store. They own
you don't know what
happens
behind those doors. I have a friend.
I don't know. Okay,
all right. Let me butt in here for a minute. Charles, and guest, we have a lack of callers on the line tonight.
I'm sorry.
We got to move a lot more than usual. So 917, we're gonna keep your mic open, but let's go to the next caller. Area code 909. You're on air.
Peace. My name is Clarence Brown III. And what I want to talk about is this. This thing is about masculine and feminine energy. You got to understand, what goes wrong with masculine and feminine energy is that you need two. You need the male and the female, right? What the male and the female do is they develop your filter. And what that does is when you see the filter of your mother with your father, what that does is say, okay, I know how a woman's supposed to be because how she treats my father. And then you see your father treat the mother good, so the father, you're like, well, I know how a man's supposed to be because he treats the father, he treats my mother good. Well, what we have in this country, what we've had since the 1960s, is we've had a division amongst black men and black women. And what has happened was that you got a lot of children growing up in single households with women, and they never ever get that example of what true masculine energy is. And so their filter gets misguided. So they think masculine energy is 50 Cent with a rapper and all that. What they fail to understand is that masculine energy or any type of energy is the ability to do work, meaning that you go out there and you produce something, and you bring that back, what you produce, you bring it back to your family, and you pass on that wealth. I don't see anything wrong if you cannot find what you're looking for in America, you're going out of the country to get it. You know what I'm saying? Because what's going on here is that if you look at American history, the two most freest people in America have always been the white man and the black woman. Those are the two most freest people in America. I'll tell you why the white man is the freest man in America, because he can do whatever the hell he wants. And I'll tell you why the black woman is free in America, because I'll tell you why the black woman is free in America, because she can call the white man anytime on the black man whenever she doesn't like what he's doing. Exactly. And that's the reality, because most of your slave revolts that happened in the turn of the century, in the 19th century, the people that turned in slave revolts were a lot of times slave women.
So let me ask you a question. Instead of going to Brazil, why don't you take the African American woman out of the white man's country and take her away? Like,
I'll tell you why. Because black women are blind and dumb, and they're invested into this system. And if you're invested into a system, you're not going to want to get pulled away from it, because even though it's a shitty investment, it's the only investment you know, and the fear of the unknown is what keeps a lot of people limited.
So if a black man came up to a black woman and say, hey, you want to move to Brazil? Let's go.
No, you don't have to. Like, what you got to do is, it's got to be baby steps. Look, I'm not a nice man. I'm a good man. Because my thing is, you can be a nice man, but you still have bad intentions. But a good man's always going to be right and exact. What he's going to do is, he's going to tell you yes when it's time to say yes. He's going to tell you no when it's time to say no. He's going to stand on it. A nice man is only going to be nice as long as he gets what he wants. You understand? And what also we have to learn is we have to learn to live within our means. The thing is, I'm a single father, right? And the thing is about me is I don't ask for no child support for my wife, because I don't need it. You know what I'm saying? I'm a provider before and after. So anything else, I don't need that. I'm gonna handle it on my own. But the reality is that black women in this country have been put in a position that's in an unnatural state. So therefore, they are the bosses, they run the show. But the problem is with matriarchy is that matriarchies are so suspect to being taken over by outside forces. And that's what you have.
But do you understand the forces, why black women have all of this power and why white men gave it to them? You don't understand.
Because I understand, because that's how the white man control. Because if you control the woman, you control the nation.
It's called white supremacy.
But why don't they control the white women?
They don't have to control the white women, because the white women are already falling in line. You gotta understand. You have to understand. You gotta understand that the white woman was more oppressed at the beginning of the century than black women. Black people had to go out there and work. So grandma and grandpa went out there and worked. So it was nothing for a black woman to be out there working. See, the white man was like, no.
Let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. The energy of a black woman has more influence than a white woman.
Why is that?
We have darker energy.
What is I don't explain. What is energy? Can you explain to me what energy is? What is energy?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Okay,
I need to know that.
When I say dark,
what is energy? We're not going to start with dark energy or light energy. What is energy first? What is energy? No, energy is the ability to do work. Power is what you get.
I'm talking metaphysics. I'm not talking science.
Metaphysics, science, it's all the same, baby. You got to understand that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
it's all the same. Energy is the ability to do work. Power is what you do with energy. The amount of energy needed to get the work done.
Who's the most influential woman in the world? Who's the most influential woman in the world? Who's the most influential woman in the world?
My mother.
There you go.
In the world.
In general.
In the world. The black woman is. But that's because, the thing is, she's been taken out of her nature, and that influence has been put to a negative position. It's the Willie Lynch letter. What did they say? You said you break the black man down in front of the black woman, so she becomes psychologically.
We can drag this all the way back through time and say, well, the Bible blames women for all of sin. You know, we have to start at the beginning, because that's where it started.
You gotta understand all these problems that black men and black women are having in this country are due to white supremacy and racism. And the problem is that what's gonna happen eventually is that black men like myself that have means and ability to accumulate wealth, pass on generational wealth, are gonna find black women in other countries are willing to accept that and appreciate it and respect it. And
the thing about it, now you're not just accept it, they extremely appreciate it. In fact, they look at it from a point of this is the best thing they ever had.
If you're used to eating steak and lobster every night, then it's not going to impress you anymore. It's not. If you're used to eating steak and lobster every night, that's not going to impress you.
Every night.
I'm still eating fish and lobster
You
every day.
take that steak and lobster dinner to somebody that's used to eating McDonald's, they're going to be so happy.
You get iodine poisoning if you do that if you eat steak and lobster every night. What the thing
I'm using that as a metaphor for if you take that to somebody who eats McDonald's every day, they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it more than McDonald's.
Here's the thing. This is the thing. You gotta look at it like this. You have to look at it like this. A black woman is the most powerful woman on the planet Earth. I give a black woman that. What the problem is that power is directed in the wrong direction. You know? Like Sister Shahara Brown said,
he's supposed to be the most powerful man on earth, but he's one of the
and he is. I am. I'm the most powerful man in my cipher, in my circle. You know what I'm saying? I'm on my square.
You're not supposed to run away from problems just for the sake of.
I'm not running away from problems. I don't have no problems. I'm going down to enjoy my vacation.
Like I said,
I don't have my problems. I handle and deal with my problems. And then when those problems are dealt with, I go down to, I travel around the world, and I get to see the world. All 196,940,000 square miles of it. I go travel and I see the world. And I go see what's going on in different parts of the world. And when I come back to in America, I'm like, hey, look, this is the situation. This is not what it is all, the end all, be all. Come out and see what's going on. And learn something. It's not just taking things on face value.
Well, if getting what you want from women in a different country gets black men to travel more and expound their mind, I'm all for it. But if that's all it's about, then it's not really doing any good.
That's not what it's all about.
It's not all about that. You're broadening your horizons to a whole lot more, not to mention, as a black man, as a traveler, it goes right back to what I was saying. If you want to deal with a woman outside of the United States, if anything, you're increasing your investment, your value. Not dragging up and down, okay? Because those things don't exist in those other countries. That's not called running away from a problem. That's called being productive. Basically, and this is guaranteeing and fixing the problem.
Also, to add on to that,
white people have been doing that for years, leaving the country to go be gay, leaving the country to have sex with children, leaving the country to go Now y'all,
if you got enough money, you can do all those things right here in America. You can do all those things right here in America.
Yeah,
any type of deviant sex act that you want to do, any type of deviant sex act you want to do in America, it can get done if your cash is right. So that's a false notion. That's a false notion right there. That's a false notion. That is a false notion. Now, what I will say is that sex trafficking, all those things go on, but they also go on right here in America. When your money ain't right, that's when you have to go out of the country, go into those.
I'm just saying, this is not a new phenomenon. I mean, people have been doing mail order brides forever. You know.
Yeah, but
going out the country to do whatever they need to do and come back because if their wife won't do this and their wife won't do that, so they go sneak off.
Well, let me tell you something else. So, I remember.
Try to get this last verse in, brother. We gotta get ready to move on.
All right, well, let me get the last word in. I think
vagina gets y'all
is hiding behind false notion of spirituality and this thing about masculine energy and everything. What you have to do is when you have your mother and father in your life, they develop your filters. So you get whatever, because there's negative and positive masculine energy. When you have that filter, you're able to filter through the negative energy and you get the positive masculine energy. And when you don't have that filter, you don't have that example, then you get confused about what real good masculine energy is. And that's all I'm going to say. Peace.
Peace, brother. Well, like I said, you kind of hit the bee's nest right there, so right, you definitely. But like I said, there's a lot of things that black men do travel outside the U.S. for as far as what they want to find in a woman. It does not compare to what white people do, white men in particular. All right, we're in a different ball game when it comes down to that. But we're gonna move on to the next caller here.
We have a caller called. The next caller is calling from area code 646.
New York. New York. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
How you doing? What's up?
Hey, what's up? I'm gonna give my perspective as a 23-year-old from New York who's actually an entrepreneur. So as I begin the dating world, there is a problem I see. The black women that I deal with in New York, they don't care about. They show an insane level of disrespect and a lack of appreciation. So those are the two things that I need from a woman. I need a woman to respect me as a man and to appreciate the things that I do for her. And I think in America, as women get Americanized, those are the two things that, you lack. Good guys finish last. Nice guys always going to finish last.
This person.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So, the nice, what she's talking about, she wants a good guy. I think there are an endless amount of good guys in America, black men. But as far as black women, they're not going to go for the nice guy first. They rather hoe out and go for the bad guy.
Yeah,
that's just a fact.
That's true because they want that masculine energy, and it's not being given in the correct form.
Oh my God! You know what? That's the twisted thinking, and that's the reason why the African American woman will continuously grow single. Right now, it's at 71%.
Let me ask you a question: could you watch the Disney Channel all day long and be happy with that? Could you watch the Disney Channel all day long? That's the equivalent of being a nice guy. I mean, it's good, it's wholesome, it's nice, it's beautiful, but there's nothing really
Getting a beat down masculine to you. Is getting a beat down masculine to you. Is going to a shelter masculine to you, or booking a ticket to Brazil, or just sitting in there. Which one? You can't have it both ways.
Now, but
you can't have it both ways. It's called balance.
Yeah, but let me ask you this question, okay? What if that same thug dude, the guy that you keep suggesting, gets his ass whooped by that nice guy that you keep saying,
I'm not saying a thug is better than a nice guy. I'm saying there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a nice guy on that end.
He had the thug to a point where he was screaming like a woman. I mean, that's the way I have thugs screaming like women when I'm beating them down.
I know lots of nice guys, and they let women run all over them. And then they become like their child or their pet. Women need a man that's going to stand up for themselves and can back it up financially.
I think the African American woman is confused because when I go to Brazil and I show this woman how nice I am, she eats it up. She appreciates it.
Because you're over masculine down there. Because the men down there are very masculine.
Oh, the men down there.
So they want that Disney Channel.
They're very masculine. This is their idea of masculinity. When I was down in Brazil last night, I was in Chuca, okay, which is about, it's a section of Rio de Janeiro about 40 minutes north of Copacabana, okay? And I went there to I was going down the main street to catch a cab. This is near the North Zone, right near the favelas. And I was going to catch a cab so I can go back to Copacabana. And this guy was walking down the street with his woman. Beautiful girl. Whew. Right? And I don't know what she did. They were speaking in Portuguese. She talked back to him. And he came from the hip. Smacked her nearly across the street. I mean, the girl looked like she did a flip. Okay? Came back down.
Yeah, that's why they love them. They're nice guys.
The cops are right across the street.
Masculine men.
Let me tell you something. The cops are right across the street, right? They right directly across the street. He picks her right back up, smacks her both in, left and right. Put that up, and just whoop her ass all over the place, right? And I'm looking at the cops. I'm like, aren't y'all going to do something? And they've been sitting there laughing, all right? And then when they finally saw a little blood coming out of her mouth, then they came across the street and broke it up. Didn't even arrest the guy. Okay.
Well, like I said, there's a balance.
too.
Maybe
You know
y'all
what?
going out there.
No, you know why? Because outside of America, it's a man's world. Okay? That's why the cops didn't do anything. And I'm not condoning a man putting his hands on a woman like that. That disgusts me. A real man, that disgusts me. I don't have to put my hands on a woman like that. Okay? I put my hands on men like that, but I don't put my hands on women like that. Okay? But you're telling me that that country is got that machismo, that masculinity that the women need. Well, see what the women get for what they want. They get their ass for. Guess what? Those
I
women
said
down there
there
don't
needs
want
to be
that.
a balance. There's a balance. That's why they like American men, because American men ain't going to do that to them because they're more feminine than masculine. Okay, you go outside the country, you'll find,
coming from? No, it's just, come on, you mean to tell me, you know, I was brought up the way you don't put your hands on women like that. I was brought up the way you treat a woman with class. You respect the woman.
I'm not condoning
Treat her with
it.
class.
I'm talking about the masculinity of that culture.
I think we got some serious cultural issues here, especially with the African American women thinking that a weak man is a man that don't put his hands on him. Okay?
No, that's not what I said. I said that y'all do not stand up for yourself. Y'all do not stand up for yourself.
In other words, by giving a woman,
and so when a woman needs a real man, she has to go like, I want a nice guy, but he's too nice. I can walk over him. He's not a challenge for me. I'm going to get bored of him quick. He has no masculine energy. I need a man. I don't want another female or another child. I need a man. So, of course, if you are more balanced, like, okay, for instance, if you're in an argument with your girl, and of course you don't hit women, but you say, you know what, you need to stay in your place and know your role, and look at her crazy. And if you can back it up by paying the bills, if she actually needs you, then she's gonna say, okay, you're right. But if she's doing the exact same thing as you're doing, and bringing home money, and tell her that, she's not gonna listen to you, because women do not respect men who do the exact same thing as them, because they're just a roommate at that point.
That just goes back to my point that a man, real men, for one, they own their house. Okay?
Exactly.
They own their house. You're just coming here. All right, are we going to hold that thought? I'm going to bring in our next caller.
Yeah, Charles, we're going to go to the next caller. The caller from 646. He just left. Okay. All right, the next caller online would be, wait a minute. Area code 757, your mic is open.
Hey, Charles, how y'all doing today?
What's going on, brother?
Hands up, man. Hey, brother, this is brother Star LA. Man, let me tell you something. I have experienced this before. I was in college. I was a good guy. Now, I ain't gonna punk. He ain't gonna walk over me, but I don't go, as my granddaddy said, don't go looking for trouble. Okay?
Exactly.
And all the girls wanted stuff. Now that I graduated, I've had some struggle. I don't have the house yet. I don't have, but I'm still pushing for it. And all those same women who didn't want me, now they see me around, and they try to get with me now. They got it, they went for the so-called masculine man, the son or whatever they perceive, and now they got 2 kids. Yes, Charles, and they got 2, 3 kids now, and now they want to go back to me and want to get the good guy. Now,
after all the damage is done,
all the damage is done. This is done. Now, he came on this. What I'm from Mississippi, and Martha Milton always taught me this. He said, do not ever get with a woman who does not want to roll up the sleeves to build an empire. See, the problem today,
same thing what my grandfather said. Yes.
And he said the so-called African woman today wants you already finished packing. You see, you don't never go to the. Okay, I'm not saying everything's going for a white boy. Let's use the white boy for example. She will never go to the white boy and say, look, okay, well, you know what? I don't want you right now because you're gonna have it together. She's gonna get right beside him because she knows that Mr. Charlotte is not gonna mess with her You know what I'm saying? If she ain't willing to help roll her sleeves up and get dirty, that's the problem that we have today. And look, bro, and also too, let's, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna hold you too long. Let's go ahead and cut through all the things. Our sisters don't like competition, especially from a sister from south of the border. Let's just be real and cut through it. If a sister from south, if you guys were flying to England, you probably wouldn't hear nothing from the sisters. But since brothers are flying south of the border and getting black women, you know what I'm saying? That's a problem now. Black sisters don't like competition. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a problem, and it's not our competition because we don't want to mess with y'all anyway if y'all can't please us. So it's not like we were going to date y'all in the first place if y'all couldn't hang.
Time out. See, what it is, the third around the corner is guys going to Brazil. It's all working black men.
You can't get a passport. You got criminal record.
Yeah. We ain't got criminal record. It's all working black men who aspire to start businesses. Matter of fact, let me give you a great example. I had a good friend, a good guy, working hard to start a business. You know what I'm saying? This woman tells him, now she has 2 kids already. Now me, I don't date women with kids. Sorry, I just don't do that. But you know what I'm saying? He takes on this responsibility. All right? And he's working to start a business. On top of it, she sat there and tells him, well, you know what I'm saying? I can't be with you because I don't want someone who's going to be working extra hours to build something. I'd rather just, you know what I'm saying, stay on welfare and, you know what I'm saying, and depend on this check. Because I can't put my faith, you know what I'm saying, in this business.
Right. Well, I'm married a black man who told me I didn't have to work and take care of everything. So there's some of them out there. You know, you just have to keep hope alive.
Look, hey, brothers, in the world of Star and look, brothers, in the world of Star Silence, get your passport, you know what I'm saying? Get your visa, start your businesses, you know what I'm saying? And get the hell up out of here. Peace.
Leave. Yeah, go get your discount kit.
Damn.
No, not a discount chick. That is completely off the wire right there, baby. It's called a good investment. It's called being happy.
Yeah, being happy. Women can't be happy broke either. Not in America. Y'all can go get your discount women and be happy there. And we'll keep looking for our man United trying to arm us here so we can be happy.
Do you know how much it costs to live? Do you know how much it costs to go to Brazil? And do you know how much it costs to maintain in Brazil?
It probably costs less than getting an American chick on the same standard.
Okay, let me tell you something. Here's how it works. All right, because we are dealing with different currencies and everything like that. But for starters, for me to even go to Brazil, it has to be a plan. It can't be something you can do overnight. You have to get your passport. Okay? $200. Ching, I could take that on a date and be with a couple of women for $200. Okay? All right, this is
my passport only costs $12.
I'd expedite mine. Okay? You know, I need mine right away. Okay? Now, check it out. You know, now I still have to go get my visa. Right? And at the time, right, the only way you can get your visa at that time, all right, it's for me at least. Because I had to go to New York at 7 a.m. in the morning. All right?
Well, you know, men will do just about anything to get some sex.
Huh?
I said men will do just about anything to get discount sex from someone who they can't get it from here.
Here you go with the sex again. Here we go. We just gotta be settled.
If I could get me a Boris Hotel, I'd have to contact her.
I mean, my thing is like, the bottom line is this: I had to go through a lot of processing for me to get on that plane, and then for me to get on that plane, that was a lot of money too. All right, to me even get set up the way I have, it cost me a lot of money. If I did not want to do all that, okay. If I did not want to spend all that money, I could stay right here in Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, go right over there at 54th Street and get myself a nice little trick to have sex with. If it's all about sex. No. What it's all about is the way I was appreciated as a black man. But you know what? I had
international exploitation. I had women who don't know anything.
I had a what? So what? You know what she told me? You know what my young lady told me? Alright? She told me something that you rarely hear from an African American woman. Okay? Rarely hear the lucky. Right? And she's got worldly authority to say it. Okay? Alright? She said, you know what? I could never find a good man here in Brazil. But you come out here from the United States and you show me that you are a great man. Okay? That you are a great man. Okay? It has nothing to do with my money. Okay? It was the way I treated her. I treated her no different than I would have treated an African American woman.
That's because their men are over masculine. And I'm telling you about the balance. If y'all were more masculine and their men were more like less masculine, then that probably wouldn't be a problem.
Let me tell you something. I feel right now that some of those so-called masculine bad boys out here are a bunch of faggots. Okay, coming in and out of jail. And I've been saying, and I've said it so many times on my show, that most of today's young African American men, right, the ones that like wearing pink sneakers, tight jeans, and the pants hanging down, I think something's wrong with them. I think they are pretty feminine. Okay? Me, myself, I'm a masculine man. I'm deep into it. You know what fuels me? It's a sensual woman. That fuels me.
And like I said, there's lots of masculine African American women in the United States because they lack the masculinity in their men. So they have to pick up the slack for it.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, those so-called, I've seen some of these girls go wild, and some of these dudes that look to me gay. Okay? And they call that a real man. I'm like, okay, for real? All right, if you say so. Okay? And it's sad. It's very sad. And it's sad.
Like I said, the problem is not leaving the country. The problem is balancing ourselves to see what the other person needs. But y'all just, y'all can't see that right now. But maybe you will once you travel around and abroad and see why women like you in certain places and why women don't like you in certain places. Maybe you'll learn something about yourself by doing that, and I have no problem with that. I think it's good that people are traveling more, but I'm just saying that's not war will never solve the problem. The problem is within.
On that note, we're going to be moving on to our next caller. V?
Yeah, we're going to area code 847. You're on there. Area code 847.
Hello? 847?
Oh, they just dropped off. The next call is in, because we got a bunch of them. Area code 404, your mic is open.
Oh, solid.
Yo. How you doing, brother? How you feeling?
I'm just over here laughing, man. I'm laughing at this conversation because this young lady is contradicting herself all over the place.
Okay.
That's what feminine energy does.
Well, I don't see any feminine energy. That's why that's one of the points I want to make as far as your contradiction.
Well, it's hard to recognize feminine energy when you are feminine energy yourself.
Well, before we get into the energy, the first point I want to make is you said something about there are a lot of good women that the men are overlooking. So my question to you is, why do the good women allow the ultra feminists and the bad women to outshout them in the United States?
Because, like I said, the media and all that stuff promotes women that y'all go to Brazil to find. So you don't even see the good women that are here. Not everybody is born.
No, wait.
Looking like a supermodel.
Wait, you're. I didn't say anything about promotion of foreign women. We know for a fact that the media promotes the quote-unquote bad women, the quote-unquote feminists. So why aren't good women taking the fight to the bad women?
Because they don't have. Because actually, you know what? Because they don't have anybody to back them up.
I'm sorry, they don't have anybody to back them up. Do the ultra feminists have anybody to back them up?
They'll jump up to get beat down. Basically, to put it in layman's terms, they don't have any backing. They don't have anybody to support them. I mean, y'all call certain type of women ugly. Y'all
Who do the feminists have to back? Who do the feminists have to back them?
A feminist? I'm not a feminist.
No. The question I'm asking you is, you're trying to say that the good women don't speak up because they don't have backing. So I'm asking you,
They try to speak, but nobody.
Why do the bad women speak up? Who do they have backing
Because
them?
people listen to them.
And they don't listen to the good women?
No.
Or good women not speaking up?
The good women don't speak up. The good women don't speak up because they have to try to stay good so they can try to at least have one chance of getting a man, so they don't bump up against you. They don't, like, they can't talk to you any kind of way because they don't know if that's their last chance ever.
Well, why would they talk to us any kind of way if they're good women?
That's why they won't, because they know their place. They know, like, okay,
so
for example,
if I go after good. I don't understand.
If a good woman who was average look wants to talk to you, she's not going to be mean and raise her voice and all that stuff because she knows that you can go out and replace her easily, and it'll be a long time before she finds somebody else. But with the woman who's decent looking, she knows that if she walks outside, she can go get someone else in 2 seconds. So she can talk to you in any kind of way. But a woman, an average woman, hardworking woman, good woman, gets overlooked every day because no one's checking for her. No one cares about what she thinks or says. So, they give
How can you say, I ask you a question. It doesn't matter if anybody is checking for her. It doesn't matter if nobody's looking for Armand Phillips to have a job. I have to go out and search for a job. So what I'm asking you is, why aren't the good women going out and searching for good men?
It's not
because they're supposed to find them.
on the menu.
I mean, because men are supposed to find them.
But if
That's
you can recognize that the bad women are going out to find good men, why can't the good women go out to find them?
Because the bad women that are looking for men are not looking for men, they're looking for money.
That's not what I asked for. That's not what I asked for. You're not answering the question.
I don't know why they're not going out to look. Probably because there's too much competition and they get overlooked so much. They just get tired of it.
There we go. Competition. So I don't understand how you can put the onus on the men when the competition are the bad women. You see what I'm saying? Like the whole fight is coming towards the men, but none of the good women wants to take a look at the feminists and say, hey, what you're doing is fucking it up for us.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to look like they're angry black women.
Well, are they angry towards men or are they angry towards the bad women?
Probably both. They're probably angry at both.
Okay. So
I'm learning some things here as I go on.
Let me go to the energy, to all of the energy talk that you've been talking, because I've been listening to you, and I really think that when this blog talk is over, you might want to go back and listen to yourself and hear all of the contradictions. One of the things you said was when Charles brought up the street thug, and he asked you, why do the good women gravitate, or any women gravitate towards the street thug? And what you said was that the women need to get rid of their masculine energy, and they need that energy from their man. And then he asked you, and then the other gentleman asked you, well, what is the energy that they need? And you said women want to they want to put away the masculine energy that they have for going to work, paying the bills, all of these things. They need that masculine energy from their men. My question to you is, how does the street thug translate to the energy of a provider? You're saying that you're going to the street thug with masculine energy.
You're right. It's not. It's a quick fix. It's like it's a quick fix.
How is it a fix?
It's not a person.
How is that a quick fix? Because she keeps going right back to the same old, and keeps putting her right in the same hole again. And then what do they do when all the damage is done? Like my man said earlier, from New York, when all the damage is done, okay, then they want to come back to the good man. The good man by this point, beat a chick. All right, so I just can't. Not a good black
That's
man.
true. The women want the balance. They can't find an over.
But there is no balance.
They can't be with the overly masculine man. They can't be with the under masculine man. It's like you're too easy. You're too easy. I can't.
Okay, if that's the case,
Okay, let's go with that. let's go exactly what you said, what you just said, because I want to go into my next point. You were saying that certain men are too weak, and therefore they're masculine. Basically, what you're saying is the masculine energy that a man does bring needs to exceed the masculine energy of the woman in order to put her in her place. But you have to understand that a woman, why does a woman come into a relationship with masculine energy in the first place? Why doesn't the woman focus on her feminine energy? That way, any amount of masculine energy will be more than that feminine energy. So you're putting the onus on men to take away your demons instead of focusing on your demons before you enter a relationship. Women should be focusing on their feminine energy, not focusing on masculine energy and then trying to find a more masculine person. There's still no feminine energy in a relationship.
The woman herself is feminine energy. I mean, even men have
can't have feminine and masculine energy at the same time.
Yes, she can, because where did men come from? Out of a woman. A woman has everything inside of her already. So does a man. We're both able to be feminine and masculine. That's why you see gay guys prancing around looking like women, because they have feminine energy as well. We both have feminine energy.
But they don't have any masculine energy.
They do have masculine energy when they get up. They do have masculine energy. When they take off all that stuff and talk in their regular voice and do whatever they need to do to look masculine or whatever, they do have masculine energy because they're a male. But what I'm saying is, when you're balanced in your spirit, in your mind, that you know that, you're not supposed to let a woman feel like this or that. You're supposed to take up certain positions.
Well, what do you mean by balance? Because when you're talking about balance, you're talking about masculine energy and feminine energy. But again, you're coming back and saying you're seeking out a man with masculine energy, but you already have masculine energy. So where's the balance with adding more masculine energy to already masculine energy? Unless you are like Charles seeking out thugs that actually have feminine energy because they're gay.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of marriage, to balance with each other's energy.
You can't balance if there's no opposite. That's what I'm trying to say. Why would I, as a masculine man, marry a woman with masculine energy? I'm not gay.
Well, how can a woman produce a masculine child?
She gets that masculine energy from
a masculine child. The boy he's a boy. That's how she produced a masculine child. He's a boy. All right? How she produced a sensual child? Girl. We know
exactly. We all have
male
energy inside of us. And the reason, I'm gonna tell you something. Like, the reason why people got married, the spiritual reason, is to balance each other out. Their masculine and their feminine. A lot of people are so spiritual now that they don't even need a man or a woman, because they can balance themselves out, like Prince or a Michael Jackson type figure. They become more asexual because they have balanced themselves so much spiritually and mentally that they have no need to interact with someone else to balance them. Okay, we're a reflection of what we need.
Again, I don't agree with you, but let's go with that. If a woman has masculine energy, how can seeking a more masculine man balance her feminine energy?
Because it'll allow her to drop some of that masculine energy, because she doesn't need it anymore, and become a more feminine woman, because she doesn't have to take on that responsibility.
But therein lies the problem. The man still does not create that feminine energy for the woman. The woman has to create that feminine energy herself.
It's not creating, it's balancing.
Whether she's
it's already here.
It's not balanced. You said the woman has masculine energy. If she drops the masculine energy, that doesn't automatically create feminine energy. The feminine energy still has to be focused.
I'll give you a good example. If a woman has to get up, go to work every day, work 8 hours or more for a man, do the shopping, come home, cook, clean, do all that kind of stuff, and the man just has to go to work and do the same thing. She has done his job plus her job, and so if she was there, if the man said, you don't have to work anymore, you just stay home, take care of the house, make sure everything's beautiful, then they get to drop that masculine role as provider. They
I
get to drop
understand.
that.
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Their
but
feminine will.
I understand what you're saying. Well, I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, just because you don't have to move forward one direction anymore doesn't mean that you're going to go the opposite direction. If we live in the same house and we both go to work every day, and I say, you know what, I make enough money for us, so you can drop going to work. That doesn't mean that instead of going to work, you're going to go to the gym and go to the beauty salon. You might just sit your ass at home and do nothing because you're not motivated. You see what I'm saying?
Or you go and help build a better process of what you do as a woman.
Doesn't create feminine. You have to create that feminine on your own.
Yeah, but you need time to be able to do it. You can't be stuck in somebody's job and the boss more than you see your husband.
I understand that. I understand that, but you're trying to make it a given, which is not. You have a lot of these good women that you're talking about who meet good guys, but when they see these guys, they're saying, well, I don't want to be controlled by this guy. I don't want to have to get with his program. They don't want to be feminine. They might want to stop being masculine.
I bet you
But
if they're paying all their bills, they get the folks program.
I don't know where to go from that. All I'm saying
I
is
wouldn't get the program either if you ain't paying my bills. I'm like, you know what? I don't need to.
Wait, but you just said
Okay,
well, see, again, there goes another contradiction. You just said I don't need you because I can pay my own bills. But then just a minute ago, you said you needed more masculine energy so you can create feminine energy. So which one is it? I'm just saying the contradictions are coming all over the place.
I'm saying I need more masculine energy, and I'm saying that if I have to stay home, and you pay all the bills, that's masculine energy to me. Can't get no more masculine than that.
Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have to be feminine.
Well, I need time because I have to reprogram myself from what you call the matrix.
And that goes to my whole point. Women shouldn't be programming themselves with masculine energy in the first place. That's not. A man shouldn't have to come in relationship with a masculine woman in the first place.
Well, then you need to find a woman with no job that you can take care of.
Okay, that's I'm gonna bring it. We're gonna probably cut it. We gotta.
I'm gonna make one more point as far as her talking about running away from the United States. And young lady, you made a comment earlier about men not knowing their history. In my opinion, for you to say that people are running away from the United States just lets me know that you probably don't know your history. I mean, one of the reasons
I do know my history. I think we should all got reparations and get a ticket back out of here, but that's not happening. Okay, if y'all are just going for the women. Y'all ain't going for the real reason.
Listen, in the history of all nations, when it comes to war, which is what we are in a war, you have to have a safe base to operate from. Right now, African American men are trying to build right in the middle of the goddamn battlefield. Now, there's a difference between the strategic retreat and running away. The war is still going to happen whether or not we go to Brazil or not. But we can strengthen our position from going overseas, starting a family, starting a business in a safe environment, and then returning to the States. To either retrieve the dead that's dying on the battlefield or to re-engage in the war. It's not running away. It's called
reloading. It's reloading. Well, that's going to bring us to our first break of the night. Really appreciate your call, bro. Like I said, we'll be right back with Series 7. Alrighty. B, let's take a few breaks.
Yeah, hello?
Here.
Yes, your mic is
What's going on,
on.
brother?
Yeah, what's going on, Charles?
How you feeling, brother?
Yeah, I just wanted to know what the topic was, man.
Well, we got we got Sherry Seven on the line here tonight. You know, she's sharing her insight on why brothers travel outside the United States, outside the matrix. Okay, her idea. You know, a lot of brothers are bringing their opinions back on it, and you know, it's definitely a very interesting show so far tonight. You know.
Yeah, well, I know you probably got a lot of callers, so I'm gonna try to keep it short. But to the Sherry girl, it's basically because you know, the women in these different countries and whatnot, they just have better attitudes and mentalities toward life. I think they're a little easier to deal with. I mean, I don't know about a lot of other dudes, but like I know me. I remember in a song, that song with Tupac called "I'm Getting Around." He said something like, what did he say? He said, "I don't want it if it's that easy," or something like that. Me personally, I like a chick that's easy. I don't really have to deal with a whole bunch of, you know, all the extra stuff. And you know, like I said, a lot of the women that, what's that? You gonna say something more?
No, go ahead.
Do it.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, okay, cool. And you know, like I said, the one thing I will credit American women on is they're actually now in America they're beginning to outdo men financially in some scenarios. So I credit them on that. I'm not sure if they're marriage material anymore, and I think a lot of men are starting to realize that.
Well, like I said, it's sad to say, it's an epidemic, and you know, and this is the reason why. That's what, you know, a lot of brothers are traveling, getting their passports every day in the country. You know, I mean, like I said, it goes back to what I said earlier in the show.
Well,
It
I
comes
think
time in a man's life was an investment. Go ahead.
yeah, I think that's true. I think that's true. A lot of women are not marriage material anymore because they have done what a man can do, or what a man was supposed to do for them, let's say 50 years ago. You know, they can do everything a man can do now except make a child. So basically, their standards have to go up higher now to be happy, to be satisfied, because they can do, you know, basically the same thing a man can do. And I mean, they might not want to do it, they might not want to work, but since they can work and get paid really good, you know, their respect and their need for a man has gone down.
Yeah, but let me say this though. Because first of all, let me tell you something. If I find my wife, let me tell you something. I'm not like a lot of these other dudes. If I find a wife, she don't have to work. She ain't got to work no more. Matter of fact, I would prefer that she didn't work. If I find a wife, I'm taking. Hold on, let me finish this. If I find a wife, I'll take care of everything. You know, all that stuff is me. All you got to do is worry about being a wife. But my thing is this: why should that? Because I know what you said. Now that these women realize that they can do these things, and now their standards have to go up. A lot of times I hear women say that when they get into a relationship or whatever, they start to emphasize and highlight the degrees that they got and all this kind of stuff. But what does a degree have to do with you being in a relationship? See, that's what I mean by they're not marriage materials. Two different things. You can have all the bachelor's and master's degrees in the world to make over $100,000. What's that?
Yeah, I mean, I have degrees, and I don't use them. I don't need them. I mean, if something ever happened, I could use them. But like I'm saying, I don't have to use them. I'm a housewife too. I don't have to work.
Okay, well, but that's what I mean, though. I mean, because I know you said something about them having to upgrade or, you know, get higher standards because they have such and such, or because they have this particular job. But I'm saying, what should that have to do with you, you know, being committed in a committed relationship and doing the things that married couples do and knowing how to also respect the person that you're with? That's what I'm saying.
It's hard for a woman to fully respect a man that she has to live in the same house with and work, because
okay, go ahead, finish.
It's hard because a woman is supposed to naturally submit to a man because she trusts him that she can take care of her and that she's safe with him. You know, if she holds that same power, she doesn't need to submit or respect him. You understand? It's like I can't.
Well, here's why I'm kind of confused here. Okay, keep seeing that these thugs and these guys, they kind of, generate the masculine mentality. Well, like, yes, most of them can't take care of their woman. They're a bunch of criminals. Okay, the fact
That's
that women
why
out
I
there
said it's
working
a temporary fix. It's just a temporary fix. It's like your equivalent to a booty call.
Always, what? You keep saying it's a temporary fix. The one thing I've always noticed is the first choice.
Yeah, of
And
course, women in industry are going to be attracted to masculinity.
Because it's the first choice, it's the fatal choice. Okay? It's the choice that can get a woman's value devalued. So you got to remember, there are more women than there are men in the world. Not just in this country, in the world. So when a woman goes...
a female energy is going to be attracted to masculine energy first.
Based on that silliness, all right? Based on that whole, he looks masculine to me, because he's hands the hand down, and he looks so sexy. Come on. Well, no, look at me. Once again, you're going away from the substance of a man and going into the silly stuff, okay? The stuff that guarantees that women, African-American women in this country will always continue to maintain the bottom line of being single.
But y'all do the same thing to women. Y'all look at a woman, and just because she looks good, you'll make a few babies with her, but she's crazy. She got,
that's what brings me there. That's what brings me to. Let me tell you something. That's what brings me to the table. She can be sexy, she can be good looking, but if she's crazier than a beanbag, I'm getting the hell away from her. I don't care how sexy she is.
Well, you ain't gonna find that out until a year in.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not gonna find that out until later. So it's too late.
Oh, I can pick it up very quick. First conversation, she starts saying something really silly. Then I go, oh, you know what? And, hey, I've dated a lot of women in my time. I've been with a lot of women in my time. And I know the easier road.
All right, listen, Charles, I'm about to be out. I just want to say one more thing before I leave. Now, you can take some of the old other calls. I just want to say this, though, because I know the topic being why they leaving the country or whatever, but you just got to think about it. These traveling hundreds, these traveling thousands of miles to dinner. You got to think there's got to be something critical or something that stands out to make us want to leave the country to these other places. And so I hear some of these dudes talking about not only are they leaving the country, but they're trying to become permanent residents of these countries. Where, mind you, a lot of these other countries don't have a vested interest in letting us work and build there. Like it ain't like America. Like in a lot of these other countries, when you move there, you don't have the same financial opportunities that you might have had here in America. So you got to think, why would these men be giving up all of this, their livelihood, all of these things they're willing to give all this up just to go to another country? It's just a difference in the mentality, But that's all I got to say. Thanks, Charles, for letting me get on the line, man.
Anytime, bro.
Well, I'm going to put myself in your shoes. If I was a man, I would leave too, because I don't want to work. And I don't want to work hard for something that I don't think is worth it, okay? But I'm not a man. I'm a woman. So...
What you just now right there, you just agreed with me.
I do. If I was a man,
one thing that I can agree with you throughout this whole show, and probably throughout the other times that you and I have had debates in the past. Okay, this is not the first time you and I had a debate before. It's been a while, but the thing about it is that when you reach a certain age, and men are getting fed up, good black men. And you heard a lot of them on this line tonight. Most of them are all in my Facebook group, and they all listen to my channel, okay? And they're all good black men, all right? They're not thugs. They're not hood rats. But we kicked all that element out the group, okay? Don't want it, okay? We're looking for good women, good black women. That's why I picked Brazil, because Brazil is the blackest country in the Americas, okay? All right? Because I'm trying to still keep it black. Okay, all right. African-American women have lost their way in this country, all right, with these poor decisions.
We were kidnapped, bamboozled, run amok.
So were we.
Yeah, but you know about the slavery issues when it comes to black men and black women. You know about the slavery issues. That is the deep scar tissue, and it can't be healed by running away. You know, you might need to go and run away for sure.
It's called the black man's option.
Yeah, I mean, there's scar tissue. There's scar tissue in the relationship between black men and black women all the way from slavery. So that's never going to be erased.
You know what running away is? It'd be different if I just say, you know what, the hell with all black women, I'm going to do it, I'm going to go to my yard room, and I'm going to go get me a white girl. You know, that's running away. Okay.
That's not running away, that's copping out. That's totally different.
You know, copping out, running away, not in the same boat, you know? All right? Now, my thing is like this. Brazil, in my opinion, my experience, all the times I've been down there, all right, that's a black man's option. You're going to the blackest country in the Americas. Only Africa has more. Okay?
So, what if the women in Brazil were to think like Americans? I mean, they come here and they start turning into us.
Time will tell. I have a funny feeling the matrix of America will grow out. You know, and it will eventually get to Brazil. All right? Especially if the United States opens up with the visa, eliminates the visa policy.
Yeah, because I know some Brazilian women who are worse than me, and they live in America.
Well,
they raise.
Here's what you guys have to factor in.
Americanized.
Here's what you guys have to factor in. Okay, in the United States, okay, one of the big disconnects, particularly that affects the black community big time, particularly the black family, is a woman, when she gets mad at her man, she can call the police for protection. So the man has been replaced, not all, but a lot of them been replaced for protection by the local police. The next thing is, also if they get mad at a man, whether they have a child with him or not, they can take that man into family court and get his whole life tangled up. The next thing is, now you're talking about discounts. Women, not all women, but a lot of women are discount scrub-ass women because they take handouts from their pimp called Uncle Sam. If you're on AFDC, if you go to the Social Services Office, you eat government cheese, that's discount sugar daddy shit. We got another caller here from the 305. 305, go on.
305. Hey, Charles Tyler, how you doing?
How you doing there, partner? How you feeling?
Doing all right. Listen, I've been listening to this show from the start. I'm going to try to be as respectful as I can. But I know, let me just go ahead and apologize right now. I'll tell you something. Okay.
Let's keep it respectful, okay?
Yes,
yeah,
I am.
okay, I will be respectful. I won't use any profanity if you don't.
Okay, I'll try not to. This, Shira James? Shira, what, 7?
Yeah.
That's it? Okay. You're exactly the prime reason why I choose to leave the black American women in this country alone.
I knew I was born for a reason, but I didn't know which one it was. Maybe that's it.
I'm done. I'm looking at my other options now. Brazil, I've been listening to Charles Tyler's show from the start. I'm looking at Brazil, and I have it in the crosshairs. I've been through a few. I spoke to Charles Tyler, one of his first blogs that did, and I told him my history of what happened. I was very smart. I had to hard, it's sad. And I guess I would be classified under stereotypes as being one of the good guys. Well, long story short, I guess I was too good of a guy. I don't know. It didn't work out. I had a vision, tried to build something. What's that?
Nice guys finish last in the U.S.
Well, yeah, and the thing of it is what's happened is, here in the States, this whole thing has gotten really out of hand with the women of African lineage for the most part. Most of them have weight issues, attitude issues, bad attitudes. They always want to fight. They got some crazy BS going on, all these mind games. They're inconsistent, illogical. They don't make any sense. They're like the bad boys who want the thugs. They don't know what they want. They think they know what they want. They don't know what they want. The guy's too nice. He's too sweet. He told me the women say, oh, well, he says he loved me too much. It's always some bullshit, excuse me. You get to a point where
bullshit, right?
You get to a point where enough is enough is enough. Can't do it no more, man. Not here in the States. It ain't worth it. Yeah. Nah.
You can't blame it on the nature of them. You can't blame it on the nature of them. You can't say, oh, women, I can't understand them. No. The African American women here in the U.S. and even American women in general. Because when you go out of the country and you start dealing with women abroad, they appreciate that type of man. And not just in Brazil, okay? But all over except for westernized society.
That's right. That's right.
I believe that's true. And nice guys, they can be too nice. They can be too sweet. You know, you get and it's too sweet, you're gonna spit it out. You be like, I need something else with that. It's too sweet. I have to spit it out. I can't deal with it. It's too much. It's the Disney Channel. I can't watch the Disney Channel all day.
Sure. That is a bad comparison. Watching Disney, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm lost. I don't want. I could be a lesbian and get more masculine treatment. You know,
wait. Hold on. Comparing it to the Disney Channel, there's no comparison. Yes, that's a bad example. Come on, no, I'm not exaggerating. That's not acceptable. No. You're not watching this stuff movie when you're dealing with a man, a real man. No, come on now. What? Hear you talk. Since you've been talking for this past about an hour and a half now, what you said, you've been contradicting yourself. A lot of what you said is not consistent. You've been talking in terms of inconsistency, and everything that you said.
Well, you know what? Men are logical, and women are not. We're not logical. We win by any means necessary. We don't.
Wait. You know what? I've heard that. I've heard that more. I've heard that what they're thinking from American women, especially Black American women in this country, have that the worst. They have that. They have personality, and that way of thinking, just what you said, the worst, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they're the worst. And
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with what you just said there.
As far as I'm concerned, if I get married again, it's going to be to a lady outside of the country. It will not be. Yeah, if I get married again, it's going to be outside the country. Hopefully, it'll be cool if it's a lady that's got the African lineage connection, and she will be outside the country. She will not be a Black American woman that resides in this country. That's not going to happen. I'm done.
Well, I'm sure they're done with you.
They
don't want to watch the Disney Channel.
I don't need. Again, that's a bad example. Talk about comparing it to the Disney Channel. That's a poor example. It doesn't hold me water. It doesn't make any sense. And it's just that.
I mean, look what Miley Cyrus had to do. Seriously, they were trying to Disney Channel. Even society is tired of that. She had to come in with a wrecking ball and shave her head and act like crazy because she was too sweet.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
I don't know. Read
Come on now.
Disney Channel, Miley Cyrus.
Disney Channel.
Too much. I'm spitting this sweet candy out. It's too much. I don't like it. I might as well go get another woman. No, we want masculine men. There's a choice.
Okay. It just goes back. Whoa. It just goes back to what you were saying before. You want the thugs. You want to fight. You want drama.
That was a temporary fix.
You want
the real men to emerge out of
That's not a fix. That's not a fix. You call that a fix? What are you fixing?
Well, maybe when you get older, like
more fix,
the 50s, you'll you'll be more mature and more masculine at that point. I don't know. But the young guys today are not masculine.
You call creating drama and fighting and more drama and masculine? Is that what you call masculine?
Well, grabbing, and let me tell you something. I've seen dudes grabbing
even
girls.
escalate to that.
I've seen guys so close put guns to the girl's head. Okay?
You can't back it up.
Call that masculine.
Women don't respect men that don't deserve respect. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Oh, my God.
I'm just man, you're killing me. That's the reason why I leave Black American women alone.
Yeah,
I got my passport now.
We bit the apple. We bit the apple. We know too much. We have too much. We know too much, and we expect too much. That's why you have to leave. Because now,
you Black American women are messed up. Y'all are just messed up. Most of y'all are messed up. That's just putting it simple. You're just a prime example of it.
Well, we can't go backwards, so y'all can catch up. Y'all got to catch up.
You are letting it be known by your representation of what you're saying. You're letting it be known.
Catch up.
Catch up? Oh. Catch up to what? Being at the bottom? Oh, no, that's all right. No thanks. You can stay down there.
Need a criminal record. That's what it meant by catch up, man.
Okay, Charles, we got about 14 minutes left. We got a rapid callers here. So let's go to the next caller who's been on the line for about an hour. 443 area code, your mic is open.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
What's going on, partner?
Not much. Let me make it quick. Brother Babon, we had to make it quick here. I knew it was a good show anytime Brother Babon gets pumped up and makes a comment as he did this evening. So I said to get it, on Brick Wall Radio tonight. So let me go ahead and get it. Hey, I personally think there are good women in America. There's good African American women here. There are good African women here. Let me say it again. But I think that between both of us, you know what I mean, we're trying to say, this is what I want, but this is not what I bring to the table. I think both brothers and sisters are both going, this is what I want, but what does it really match up against what I'm here to bring to the table? And I think we ain't bringing to the table for what we want. And I think it goes across the board, you know what I mean? So I think we're not providing some things that, hey, you know what, this will be something that's really good for sisters. And of course, there's some complaints from our end from men as well. But I think tonight represents the overall relationship between us. It just seems like it's a fight. And it's this brick wall mentality of, it's the ways I'm thinking and the way that you thinking versus let's take some roles in a relationship here to make it kind of advantageous for ourselves, you know what I mean? And particularly when it comes to Brazil, I know there's a lot of mudslinging sometimes. It's like, brothers are going down here for that and brothers going down here for that. But I can't really make too many comments, shout out to November because I'll be down there in Wichita. But I can't really make too many comments about Brazil. I ain't been there. You know what I mean? I ain't really been there yet. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of comments and shots about Brazil, but we ain't really been there yet. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, if that's such an onus for us, let's go there and find out for ourselves. And really, finally, I really want to just talk about the roles. And whether we talk about marriage or relationship, let's talk about the roles. And roles can be a little bit differently for different folks, right? Somebody works, or Brother Seymour said earlier, you don't got to work. But then there's another brother saying, hey, let's build together and let's build something together. I think as long as there's respect, right, as long as we got some type of respect where I'm going to provide a role that's just not based on what I think a woman wants, but with that woman that I really want to build a future with once, right? Because every woman is different, you know what I'm saying? And I think if that woman approaches it to, I'm going to get to know this man, so I know what this man needs versus then what I want and what I want as, I guess all this talk about energy, that really I'm really bringing something to the table that I can support what I know that man needs. Because you know what? He's going to support something that I need. I think we'd be all good down the line, but I think we missed that. And I think we missed that because we're not shown it. I think we missed that because we're not shown it, because a lot of us are coming, and the statistics really show that we're coming out of broken homes. We're coming out of single relationships where women are telling us, hey, this is how a man is, girl. And really, there was no man in the household to show you. or brothers are following other young men that are saying, man, it's about getting this money and getting these hoes, and then we kind of approaching that where we're not really trying to look for a wife. We're really looking for somebody who's looking like Beyonce, who I can get a video chick, you know what I'm saying? And then try to make a future with that person. And we sitting here like, oh, damn, why I'm looking crazy? Because you really weren't looking for a wife, brother. So I think fundamentally, we don't know not only what we're bringing to the table for a sustainable relationship between us, African-American relationships, you know what I'm saying? But we're also not knowing how to recognize what we need. So I think there's nothing wrong with brothers going to Brazil. I think there's nothing wrong with you going abroad, but I think there's got to be something to where we got to at least have some common sense, man. Let's not tear the entire race of African-American women down because we done had some bad issues, even though I gotta agree with some of those issues. But I think some sisters got some complaints too. You know what I mean? We can just say it's what it is. I'm going to Brazil. I'm gonna meet my Afro-Brazilian queen. But you know what? I gotta tear you down in the same sense. I can just say, hey, this is what I'm doing right here. But you know what, sister? It's all good anyway. You know what I mean? So that's just my thing, man. I know y'all gotta wrap it up. I appreciate y'all letting me get in at the end, man. Hey, y'all have a good night. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that was a good statement you said.
See you in November.
All right, brother. See you down there. Shout out to the beach party. I get up with you.
All right.
That was a good statement that he made. I agree with what he said. The conversation.
Okay, next caller, because we got 9 minutes. Our next caller, 301 area code. Your mic is open.
How you doing, brothers? I just wanted to call in just with a quick statement. It doesn't really matter what the women think as long as the men are making money in a patriarchal society, because the women will just submit. Like she said, if we pay all the bills, you know, they'll just do whatever we say. They would just submit to us. You know what I'm saying? So we need to start worrying about what they say. We need to start worrying about what they say and what they think. And, you know, like that binary trading stuff Charles is doing, get into that, get into starting businesses. And once we get our money up, then we can slap our women in front of the police and nothing will happen. Jokingly. I'm not saying do that for real, but what I'm saying is it doesn't matter what they think. If we have the money, the resources, and the power, they can talk about their strength and independence and all that bullshit all they want. But the bottom line is they cannot be strong and independent unless a man builds a building to put them in it, puts the air conditioning in it. Women are not out here working in coal mines and building roads and bridges. Men do that stuff.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter what women say or think. I'm a caveman when it comes to that. I don't care what any of them say. Because they all freaking crazy. All of them.
That's true. That's true. You have to build something for them to come.
Okay? Now, what the complaint's gonna be is it's gonna go from that bullshit energy, spooky, you know, cloud shit that she was talking, and it's gonna go from, well, I don't know about niggas being in charge. They gonna try to tell us what to do.
Can y'all see?
It's gonna go from there. It's gonna go from that bullshit energy argument to niggas trying to control us, and you know, they telling us what to do and we don't like it. And now they got money to pay lawyers and our little bullshit child support scam don't work no more.
Okay.
I'm just asking, can y'all still hear me?
I'm still here. I'm here.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if I had to.
We're still definitely on the line.
I agree with that. Women respect men more when they can take care of business all the way. I mean, they should ask us to get our hands dirty, in my opinion. I mean, like the other caller said before him, he says that you need to ask your woman what she wants before you get into a committed relationship. You need to ask her.
No, we don't have to ask women anything. We don't have to ask women anything. If we build, then their opinion is irrelevant. If we build a building, you think they're not going to come and want to be in it?
Well, if you want an heir to your throne, yes, I think so.
Wait, what? Animal, what are you talking about?
If you want a child with your wife, yeah, you're going to have to ask her some questions. Like, do you want to work? Do you want to help me? Do you want to stay home and be a housewife? Or do you want to go get a career something even bigger, you have to ask her those questions like that, call her sis, because her definition of marriage might be very different from yours.
Listen, like they said before, and like I said, your definition of what you think doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter.
If it doesn't matter,
once we build a patriarchal economic system to where we pass things down to our sons, that's when our women will have value, because they will provide us with sons to pass our legacy to. That's how it worked even with them Christians in medieval times. That's why their women have value, because they provided them with sons to pass their legacy to.
That day is never
It is going to come. It is going to come, but it's not going to come the way that you women want it to come. It's going to come with brothers doing what brothers like Charles are doing, going overseas, building an economic base, bringing the money back, and building in a community. Because here's the thing, what is
wait a minute. Hold it, quiet to meet everybody. We got about 4 minutes left.
Okay, what I want to support is the church, and the church ain't doing nothing. The church ain't doing nothing.
Wait a minute.
Okay, we got.
Okay, hold on a minute.
I'm sorry to put you on, bro.
Yeah, Charles, you have to make an announcement.
Yeah, we got to make a couple announcements here. All right, concerning the beach party and also the Facebook group. Yeah, it was a little time left. As I can say before, I want to get this out there to everybody who's planning on coming down to the beach party in November. Here are the dates. Once again, the dates are November the 18th through the 22nd. Okay? There's going to be more information as I go on the next couple of weeks or months, concerning all the events that's going to be going on in those 4 days. Okay, we run this like a convention atmosphere, and everything like that. But a lot of brothers, like I said before, come on down, get your airline tickets now. All right. I ran a check on Priceline on airline tickets right now for a trip to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, for November the 18th, and I came up with a $650 round trip airline ticket from Philadelphia from JFK to Rio de Janeiro, right? These discount tickets are going on right now. If you get it within the next 2 months, that eliminates at least almost 60% of your trip fee. If you buy your airline tickets now at this discounted rate, right? While we're going into the rain season in Rio, all right? So you can get those tickets for nearly almost half price, less than half price, as a matter of fact, all right? Also, I also want to put out there to everybody, we got a new artist in the group, all right? Very political and very good artist. His name is Alex Art, okay? All right, as you can see, so he did the background in the Facebook group, all right, and also on the other Facebook group that we have in our list here. All right, I want y'all to keep an eye out for my brother who's going to be buying comic strips from him too as well. His art too is very good. I would like y'all brothers to partake of his talents, right? I'll be putting more information in as far as purchasing his artwork and everything like that. All right, we have reached the end of our show, okay? And Sharisa, I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I know it's been a very interesting ride here, okay? We want you to have
controversy.
Yeah, very. Your videos are very controversial, so this is why, okay? And I appreciate you coming on the show and giving your opinion. Even though our opinions are different here, but I really appreciate it. And once again, and I got love for you. You're welcome back on the show anytime, dear.
Okay.
All righty, you have yourself a good night. V, as always, brother, putting together a good show. We're going to continue on, man. Hope to catch up with you.
And I'd like to thank also the guests, because I usually don't say nothing, but she was pushing my button. Well, I'm glad she was on, because we had more calls tonight, and we just couldn't even. We usually can't get to everybody anyway, but there's no way we could even touch people.
There's no way around it.
You might have to still call
jokes behind 3 or 4 hours.
So on that note, that's it for tonight. We'll be back next Wednesday night.
Wednesday, same time, same bad channel.
Yes, same time. Okay, everybody have a good rest of the night.